This episode has content that could be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to tonight's episode, presented by Thrilling Mysteries. Demonic possession, the act of when a demonic force or spirit takes control of a person's body and mind, rendering their old self paralyzed and allowing the demonic spirit to take over. Nearly every religion known to man has spoken of occurrences of being possessed. The New Testament of the Bible mentions demonic possessions 21 times. Most often, it takes a man or a woman of God to remove or exorcise the demons. Even Jesus himself is recorded as casting out or exorcising demons. Tonight, we are taking a look at 5 accounts of true exorcisms that have actually taken place. Grab your holy water, get your crucifix, and say your prayers. We don't want the demons to take hold of you, do we? Before we get started with these exorcisms, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and be thinking of something you'd like us to cover on future episodes, and let us know in the comments. Now, on with our program. We will begin with an exorcism that actually has a happy outcome. In 1778, there was an English tailor, George Lukins, who was going around town acting in a very strange manner. He was seen speaking in strange voices.
"What are you doing to me? You are nothing. Leave my sight, you peasant."
Making inhuman noises. And singing church hymnals backwards. Priests from Bristol's Temple Church were called, and 7 priests came out to perform the exorcism. It took several hours of spiritual battle, but in the end, the priests were able to get the demons who had taken over George's body to let go and leave. When the whole ordeal was over, George thanked the priest, and then he recited the Lord's Prayer. "Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this." Our next account takes us to a small village in Germany. The story that has been told here might be a little hard to swallow. You'll see why here in a minute. The year was 1842. A woman by the name of Godabendidis lived in a house that she told everyone was haunted. Most did not believe her, until they witnessed her odd behavior one day, and she began to slip in and out of consciousness. When they contacted the doctor of the village, he told them that Miss Didis wasn't ill, but needed a priest for an exorcism. The village priest arrived and began the process of commanding the demons out of Godaben, and the scene became quite violent. Screaming, thrashing, and even vomiting out rusty nails and shards of glass. The process of Miss Didis' exorcism rites took over 2 years to get her to finally let go and release the demons. When she was finally free of her demons, Miss Didis proclaimed, "Jesus is the victor." We now take you to South Africa. The year is 1906. A young woman is said to have made a pact with the devil himself. Her name is Clara Seeley. Clara soon began to behave erratically, screaming, ripping at her clothes, speaking in tongues, and showing feats of superhuman strength. The people in the town became very frightened of this very small, frail-looking woman. The town elders called the priest, and they began to try to exorcise the demons. They splashed holy water on her, and it made her skin boil with burns. An hour into the process, her body levitated above the ground where she was laying, and over 170 of the townspeople witnessed this. Another hour into the exorcism, witnesses saw what was described as smoke escaping her body, and there was a foul, noxious odor. She fell to the ground, exhausted from the possession. The priest then declared that she was free from the evil spirits. Our next account does not end well. In 1974, a British man by the name of Michael Taylor was known to be in a depressed state of mind. He and his wife were having marital issues because of this depression, and she didn't know what to do. Michael began spending a lot of time with a young, 21-year-old pastor of a church, and when he would come home from these visits, he would be in a much happier mood. This went on for several months, and many people noticed that Michael was much happier than he used to be. They all felt that spending time with this pastor, who was known to have the ability to exorcise demons, was the reason he was feeling better. Michael's wife did not agree. She accused Michael of having an affair with the pastor. Michael became violent and attacked her. This led to 2 ministers being called in to perform an exorcism on Michael, during which he was said to have bit the ministers and spat on them and screamed with a demonic voice. The next day, police were called by the children as they found their mother brutally murdered, and it was Michael who had done it. Unbelievably, Michael was not convicted of murder, as the defense said his actions were caused by the attempted exorcism, which had made him insane. Our final story of the evening is one that was the inspiration of the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose. In 1976, a woman by the name of Annalise Michael was known to have been having bouts of seizures, and people would often say that she was acting crazy because she was known to behave as a different person every time they saw her. Annalise was a highly religious person and felt that she had a demonic possession, and she asked several priests to perform exorcism rites on her. They came in and rotated for days, and had Annalise tied down and would not let her out until they completed the rites. For several weeks, the priest would rotate in and continue the process, never letting Annalise out of the bed, as they stated that it was a trick of the evil one to try and harm them. After 67 different exorcism rites were performed, Annalise passed away due to starvation. 2 of the priests, who were the most active and were the ones in charge of the process, were convicted of murder. It was determined that Annalise actually was suffering from several medical conditions, such as epilepsy and schizophrenia. So, do you believe that any of these accounts were actual demonic possessions? Or is this just a case where people just don't understand mental disorders and fall back on religious folklore to explain something that they don't understand? Let us know in the comments if you have had any experiences with, or if you have known someone who has had an exorcism or any experience of this nature. Maybe we will use your story in a future episode. Until next time,